Hi there, welcome back. Today I'm talking about books that I read in the month of April, and I started off with the series that I still had to finish for my year series, and that was the Alex Stern series by Leigh Bardugo. So I read both Ninth House and Hellbent, and then discovered that this is going to be a trilogy, and the last book will be published in September. It will be released in September, so to finish the series I still have to wait. But let me talk to you about these two books. This is the Alex Stern series. It is about a girl named Alex. Well, she's actually called Galaxy because her mom is sort of this hippie type. But she calls herself Alex. And Alex has this really bad background. She was involved in drugs with friends who were doing drugs. And she had to do certain things in order to gain drugs or get money or things like that. So there are some trigger warnings for this, but there is a reason that Alex has this bad background because she can actually see dead people. So she sees ghosts or spirits or whatever, but she doesn't communicate with them. But actually, because she can see those ghosts, she is asked to be a member of the House of Lethe, which is like this sort of student organization at Yale University, but it's like the real Yale but with fake magic and houses. And the House of Lethe is actually the ninth house, the ninth secret society, and they have to keep order, or they have to be in control of the other houses, the other 8 houses, and the magic that they perform. So there is like a house that cuts open people, like auspices, to predict future, or there is this house that creates portals to other places and times. There is a house that creates storms and things like that. So a lot of magic going on, but it's all really dark. We are at an academy, we are at a university, so it's dark academia. And there are demons and devils and things like that, and it's actually a lot of fun to read this. It's exciting, it keeps you on your toes. I was kind of confused in the beginning. I might have talked about this in another video, because in the beginning it starts off in medias res, so a lot of things are going on and you don't know what's happening or what has happened, and then you start figuring it out along the way. So yeah, but this one, the first one, was very exciting. We have a murder going on, and we have the person who was supposed to give Alex her instructions and teach her how to be part of this House of Lethe, who disappears, and we don't know yet how he disappeared. We have to go back in time and figure that out, what happened. So there's a lot going on. We also have her past that keeps haunting her. Yeah, it's exciting, it's fun to read. Of course, as I said before, trigger warnings, but besides that it is high paced, and yeah, it was fun. So I was very happy to continue with Hellbent. Now this one, we also have murder, and we also have that disappearance that I already talked about. The focus shifted more to the disappearance and less to the murders, and personally I preferred the first book. I thought it was a bit more interesting, probably because we still had a lot more to discover, and because this might have like the second book in a trilogy curse. They always say that the second book is usually the least interesting one, but I still had a lot of fun with this one. It was still like quite an easy read, a lot of fun to read, but I am looking forward to the third book. I think the most positive thing to say about this one is that the side characters are rounded out more in this one, which makes me appreciate them a lot more and root for them a bit more as well, not just for like the main characters from the first novel. Then I moved on to my must-read book of the year, which was This Is How You Lose the Time War by Max Gladstone. And I forgot to mention that Amal El Mottar, because this is written by 2 authors, and Apparently I only saw the first author, or this author, when I mentioned the book, and I'm really sorry about that. So, you know, this person also wrote this book. What to say about This Is How You Lose the Time War? I loved it. I think this is a magical book. This is wonderful. It is science fiction, actually. It is about these two factions, and they both want to be like the ruling entity of the world. And in order to do so, they travel through time by the threads of time, or they have people who are specialized in doing so, if you can call them people, because like the one side is like very robotical, and the other side is very organical, so they are more like creatures than actual humans. But they sometimes take human forms because they travel through time, sometimes to the future, sometimes to the past, and they slightly change things or become part of what is going on at that period in time to influence the situation. So it will be more advantageous to their faction, and that those can be small things like making sure that a certain person hears a certain sound, which will influence them to build this monastery to a god, and then so many years later a woman with a child will be able to go to that monastery and find safety, because that child will be important in engineering a certain thing that is necessary for one of the factions. You know, it's this whole what's it called, Terminator feeling that is going on there. But it's not that heavy in science fiction. You have scenes with like the scene in the beginning, for example, with like the guns and spaceships and everything like that, but we have most of the scenes are actually not like that. They are other parts in history. For example, we for example see the murder of Julius Caesar going on and things like that. But all of that is just background to the love story that is going on, because in this one of the members of one faction called Blue writes a letter to Red from the other faction, and they start communicating back and forth. But of course this is very illegal and they shouldn't do this, and they find these very inventive ways to write these letters to each other, and we get to read the letters, of course. And that was one of my favorite parts of this book, was all the ways in which they get to communicate with each other, in which they bring these letters to each other. That was wonderful. Now, the one thing that threw me off in the beginning was the language that is used here, because it's very, very poetic language. And in the beginning I was like, oh, this is too much. This is a bit overdone. But then I was sinking into it, and I loved this so much. And I actually cried at the end, and it's... Oh yeah, I loved this. So if you are into science fiction, or if you are into high fantasy, and this is not too much to read, you know, it's also like the type is not that large and everything, so give it a chance if you haven't done so already, and I really hope that you love it as much as I did. Next, I did my buddy read with Jason Reed's 10. And I read The Burgess Boys by Elizabeth Strout. Now this one I wasn't too blown away by, to be honest. It's about the Burgess family. There are two brothers and a sister, and they are grown up, and we get to learn a bit about their shared history. Not too much, but like kind of an important basis. But what is actually going on is that the sister's son decides for some reason to throw a pig's head into a mosque during Ramadan. And of course this thing escalates into the media being involved, and the boys, well, the uncles, going and try to protect their nephew, but also having their own opinions about all of this. And then we also get their story. So what is going on in their lives? Are they married? Are they not? Why aren't they? Why are they? What is happening with the wives and everything like that. So there's a lot of human interaction. Yeah, and a lot of thinking about subjects like racism, but also infidelity and reasons to live, maybe. And I have to say that although a lot of those elements speak to me, I was not too big of a fan of this one. It sort of dragged a bit, and I even turned to the audiobook to get it finished, which I normally don't do with new books or books that I haven't read yet. Audiobooks to me are very much something that I listen to relax with a book that I already know and love, so it's just fun to hear in the background. So yeah, I'm very sorry, but this was not my favorite. And then the last book that I read in April is the first book in the trilogy that I was supposed to read for April. The first book in the Silo trilogy, which is called Wool, written by Hugh Howey. This is a dystopian post-apocalyptic world in which people live in a silo, a huge silo. It has like 140 or more floors, and on each floor people do certain things. So you have the mechanical unit, and you have the IT unit, and you have places where they grow food, and you have the floor where they take care of newborns and things like that. But there is a whole system for newborns. And at the very top you have these views, you have these screens on which the outside world is projected, because they are in this underground silo, and at the top of the silo there are cameras, and the cameras show the footage of the outside world, which is very desolate, is very brown, because the earth is poisoned. And that is how they live. And once in a while a person thinks like, I want to go outside, I don't want to be here anymore, or I want to see what is actually going on outside, or you know. And that is a crime. To voice those thoughts is a crime. And those people are sent out to clean, which means that they are put in like these astronaut-like suits, which prevent the poison from coming in too quickly, because it will eventually come in. And they are sent out to clean, and they have to clean the cameras. And of course, all of these people, when they are sentenced to go out, they say, oh, I'm not going to clean, why would I clean? And then once they go outside, they always clean the cameras. And the question, at least at the beginning of the book, is why? Why do they clean the cameras? Just a second. I'm sorry about that. I'll be a bit out of breath and because of that. Do you know when kids come to your door and they come to trade something? That's what they were doing. They start like with an egg at a certain house, and then they ask to trade it for something better, and they continue on. So that was what they were doing. So I got like canned carrots and I gave them a sticker book. So hopefully they have fun. But anyway, that was so random. I was talking about wool and I have no idea where I was. I think I told you the main premise. I still have to tell you what I felt about it, or how I feel about it. I had a lot of fun. So the beginning is really something that caught my attention, because I was reading the first few pages and I was thinking, okay, I can see where this is going. This might be not the best thing, it might be too easy to figure out, but no, there is a twist, and that really hooked me. So I liked reading the rest of the book as well, although this is over 500 pages, and I do have to say that somewhere in the middle, late middle, it drags just a little bit, because a lot of things have to be put in place. A lot of world building is going on, a lot of setting up the characters in different positions, but a lot happens as well, so it is exciting. And yeah, I'm actually looking forward to continuing this. I am very curious as to where we are going in the next books. But I had a lot of scenes in here that I found very epic, and I could see them in my head, you know, and they were quite exciting. There is some technology involved in this one as well, but it's very understandable. So yes, I actually had fun with this one. I liked all the discoveries that you make, and the thought process behind it. So it's a setup for the rest of the trilogy. I did read somewhere that like the first part was originally a short story, and then the writer decided to, or the author decided to make it into a full novel or even a trilogy. I do want to point out that there is like this ugly fake sticker, because I hate fake stickers. I hate stickers on books as well, but definitely fake stickers because I cannot pull them off. And it says the next Hunger Games, which I think is wrong to look at, because there is no gaming element. If you are looking for you know, the Hunger Games, this is not it. It is definitely dystopian, and it is definitely post-apocalyptic, and it is fun that way. If you are into sci-fi, then I think you will find this one quite interesting, but don't go into it if you want like a competition or something like that. Alright, that's it. This was my April. I enjoyed it a lot. I had a really good reading month. These are pretty hefty books, and most of them I really enjoyed, so I'm quite happy with this. If you have read any of these, or if you have any comments on these, please let me know, and I hope to see you in another video soon. Bye!